Did you always want to be able to sing, dance, act,
I still do.
be a comedian?
No, I started stand-up at 17, but my family are all singers. My gran was... she's like, did New Faces back in the day and that, you know. So, yeah, they were all singers. They were quite the hot stuff in the Northwest growing up. My gran was an Irish immigrant. They were in a little folk band, and so everybody in our family sang. So when I did comedy, that was the weird thing, if anything.
OK.
You know? So, but, yeah, I absolutely love it. It's just... when you've been on tour as well by yourself, I did about 200-odd dates on my last tour.
Yeah.
Quite a lonely old job, you know. So when you finally get into a show with a company, you know what it's like. You know, you get into a company and it's just lovely. It's really good fun.
How did you end up landing the role?
What had I done? I'd just done producers, and then I was in the middle of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and...
A bit nervous when people say
and it's always it's a hard thing to get your teeth in before you start.
Be careful.
I'd say that wakes an audience up in Woking. And then I did Guys and Dolls at the Albert Hall, which was great. And then off the back of that, they had this show, which is... It's never been over here before, Curtains. It was a big show on Broadway and won a load of Tonys. It had David Hyde Pierce from Frasier in the role.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd never done it in the UK, so they said, well,
So who do you play in it?
I play Lieutenant Frank Chaffee, who is a detective.
Is it quite that sort of lovely old-fashioned musical?
Yeah, it really is. That's what I loved about it. It's got that... It's Kander and Ebb who wrote Chicago and Cabaret. But I think with the dancing, I always say I can learn choreography. Like, you know, with Strictly, they're learning a different dance every week, and they've got an intense... Whereas with this, you learn your 3 dances in the first few weeks, and then you do them to death for, 300 performances.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a bit easier in that respect.
And what about your Is it Boston accent you have to have?
Boston, yeah.
That's quite hard.
Yeah, Massachusetts, not Lincolnshire. It's a bit easier. Yeah, it is hard, because it's a bit like New York. When I did Nathan Detroit, he's New York, so that was sort of a bit easier, because we all sort of can do a bit of New York, like, just because you've heard it so many times. Boston is a bit harder. It's a bit sort of, there's a park the car in the Harvard car park. Like, it's got that sort of hard sounds in there.
The car in the Harvard car park.
There you go. Look at that.
I'm happy with that.
Got an understudy. Yeah. So, but it's great, and what's lovely, the show's fantastic anyway. But then with it, they've done some great work with it. Ori Aduba's fantastic. Carly Stenson is wonderful, and then just there's some like sort of West End royalty in there. Rebecca Locke and Samuel Holmes is hilarious. It's quite hard when you see other people are getting bigger laughs than me. I'm like,
are you doing it in the one place? Because obviously you mentioned before that when you're on tour, when you're doing stand-up, you're away so much, and you've got 5 kids now.
Yes.
How did that happen? I'm sure last
Why do you
time
think I'm on 4? I'm like, what can I do? Is there anything else? Yeah, it can be, yeah. I mean, we're touring around, so I am back, in the weeks. And obviously, when we're playing Stoke and Liverpool and Manchester and London, Sheffield next week, so you sort of just commute from home, really, and shoot off at 4 o'clock.
And you said you get dad guilt, which you don't hear about very often.
I know, I thought this would... Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's a modern thing, but, yeah, I do. I often feel a bit guilty. I get to a point where, when I do have a day off, like, just load them with, like, activities and stuff, And I know I know what happens. Kids just want your time. They're not bothered about all that, but crikey, I mean, that first birthday party after my divorce, it was like a fairground. Honestly, they just threw everything at it. Because you just get a bit of guilt but my kids are absolutely fine. They understand. I mean, I was away for 2 weeks, and I rang them. I said, right, I'm back Monday. Shall I pick you up straight from school instead of after school club and stuff? They looked at me like, what? That's with our friends. Wow. See you at R5, mate. You know what I mean? So I think you can, can load it. And I think we get to that point now where we're obsessed with being liked. And I think as a society, right down to the scientists say it releases endorphins when you get likes on the Facebook. And so I want my kids to like me.
Yeah.
Whereas I remember when I was a kid, my parents didn't care whether you liked them or not.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I'm still like that.
Yeah, well...
And it's actually a relief when you do step back and think, they're liking me or not. I don't care. My job is not to make you like me.
Right.
My job is to raise a good
I've got
human
friends.
being.
He's called Tony. I don't. I used to leave home 3 times a week, and 2 times my dad would help me pack.
And that's why we're glad you're still doing stand-up. Thank you so much, Jason Manford.
Thank you.